Nice fish. Oh, wowzers. Today is a good day.
Tab here with Real Michigan Anglers, and this is a review for my Lamiglas X11 9-foot steelhead float drift rod. This is rated for 10 to 20 pound line and 1/4 to 1 ounce lures. So, this is a float drift rod. I use it for float fishing both with a spinning reel and with a center pin. But the thing I love about this rod is it's kind of a Swiss Army knife. It works for everything. So it's got backbone. It's got enough backbone for king salmon and cohos absolutely all day. Landed plenty of both on this rod. But it's also got enough action. It's pretty moderate in the tip. So it's actually a really good rod for casting spinners, which you can see I'm tossing on MEPS number 5 right now. So I do a lot of spinner fishing with this rod, but it's also stiff enough for jerkbaits, so I do a lot of jerkbait fishing with this rod. I've used this rod trolling for walleye successfully multiple times. It's actually a pretty decent trolling rod, maybe not ideal, but works. I've also used this fishing for catfish and carp and things like that, where you got to cast a bait out really far, and then you can see the bites really easily with the moderate tip. So it works for all sorts of things. So it really works for everything. I've used it on big water, I've used it in the river, I've used it trolling, I've used it vertical jigging. I've done everything with this. And this thing handles fish. I have caught some really nice fish over the last year and a half since I got this rod, and I've noticed a significant reduction in the number of big fish that I lose. So in years past, I have all these situations where it's like, man, I hooked into like some sort of epic unknown fish, unidentified, because I never landed it, you know, and you always wonder what that fish is. And since I've been using this rod, I haven't been losing hardly any fish, and when I do, I at least get them close so I know what they are, so I'm not losing those monsters. I've caught big flathead catfish on this, I've caught king salmon on this, I've caught steelhead on this, I've caught loads and loads of cohos on this, I've caught pike on this, channel catfish, suckers, carp, everything. This thing is just great for like pretty much any situation. I do have several other rods that I use for various specific things, and I have a couple other float rods that I use. So a lot of time I just end up using this as my general all-purpose rod. I'm actually going to switch this over to the pin for this weekend because I'm doing some steelhead fishing, and I like to use this for just about anything because it's got excellent casting distance and it's great for fighting fish. Positioning of the reel and this whole layout here is pretty much perfect. It fits like it's a nice like just past my elbow if I want to, fight fish like this. Or if my arm's real tired and I'm fighting a big old fish, I can do the armpit tuck, and that's real comfortable. I also do that sometimes when I'm float fishing, especially with the pin, because then the hand ends up more up here, which puts the butt of it right in my armpit, just right for keeping a high tip for center pin float fishing. So I have no complaints about the design whatsoever. The hook keeper, down to the eyelets at the end, this graphite handle is lovely to hold on to. It feels great. If I have to get nitpicky, one thing that I experience occasionally is the line getting wrapped around the tip when casting or retrieving, or if I set the hook and there's no fish there, I reel in and it gets hung up. But in this rod's defense, I'm using heavy braid all the time. This is rated for 20 pound. I use 20 or 30 pound braid on this a lot of the time. And I do a lot of fishing that gives me a lot of line twist when I'm not fishing with braid. So it could be something to do with the guide spacing or something like that, but really it's not such a frequent issue that it's a major issue. Like I said, I'm getting nitpicky, just trying to think of some criticisms. Maybe one other thing, not that it's a frequent problem because it really isn't, but these things come loose on like every rod I've owned except for my Abu that has the clicker, so it actually locks into place. I think that just needs to become standard on all rods, so that would be a nice upgrade for this. But otherwise, zero complaints. Love the rod, works for everything. I continue to use it over and over and over, as opposed to pretty much every other rod I have. Also, I've been pairing this most frequently with the Shimano Naski. I just did a review video on that. You can check that out if you like. The link will be up here. This is the 2500, and this is a great balance. This is comfortable to fish, For how cheap this rod is, it's pretty light and very comfortable to fish with. So I don't get a ton of crazy wrist fatigue or just worn out arms from fishing with this rod. And it works great. Like the 2500, I use that for king salmon even, and never got spooled. So if you're looking for a float fishing rod or just a general all-purpose rod, this is a great one to consider. If you do a lot of big river fishing and you're casting spinners, this one's awesome. A lot of spots on the Grand River where I'm sitting right now, I can cast to the far end. This is a pretty wide stretch right here, so I can't quite make it all the way across, other than maybe with a spoon. But if you're fishing with this from a boat, casting spinners, you're going to be able to nail the pocket every time exactly where you want it. If you're bank fishing, this thing has the casting distance to get you where you need to go. Using waders and working the river, this is great for anything besides little creeks. Although I use this creek fishing, I do a lot of float fishing for trout and steelhead with this rod. It's a little bit tricky in spots with heavy tree cover where I can't get that hook set 9 feet above me, but it works great in little creeks for float fishing. It really just does everything. So if you're in the market for a rod in the $100 price range, these are hard pressed to beat. So check out the Lamiglas X11. Thanks for watching.
Nice fish! Whew. This is a thumper. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I have a feeling it's a channel cat or a flathead. It's a flathead. It's a good one. Yes. Woo.
For sure.
Think so? It's a pretty good one.
Bring it up top because one of the other poles was getting a bite.
Okay.